吸气。
This is my go-to Thai knot as well.
Oh, it's really.
Yeah.
我往右，右。
Yeah, definitely adjusted. Right.
It's similar color when I'm doing the Aichi show. Ah, the book.
Yeah. Hey guys, as some of you may know, I'm really into suits, dressing up, but also keeping healthy in a fit body. And today I have a guest, Victor. Victor, welcome. Thank you for coming today. Can you just give us a brief introduction about what you do?
So I am a club bell instructor and also a writer on fitness and health. And before you ask, let me just explain a little bit what a club bell instructor is. A club bell is a very ancient training tool originally used by warriors in the Middle East and India. And recently it's had a small revival of interest, and I've been doing my best to promote it in China. So a large part of what I do today is teach people how to swing clubs.
You're a writer as well as a fitness instructor.
Yes.
And why don't you just give a brief overview or introduction to your book that you launched?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. The book which I've just brought out, actually the English name was The Noble Savage, but when we translated to Chinese, we couldn't translate directly without creating a very weird name, so we called it 无限可能的身体. Although it's a little bit not related to the original name, I think still captures the essential points of the book, which is that we have a very malleable body which is capable of huge adaptations to our environment. And what I do in this book is I try and go back and look at what were the original factors which influenced how we evolved and why our body is the way it is today, and then explain why those factors are still relevant to us in terms of maintaining health today. So the book looks at 5 things in particular, of which movement is one, but the other ones being light, nutrition, temperature, or you could say the environment in general, and social interaction. Okay, and these are the 5 areas I really focus on in my book.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I took a brief look at some parts of the book, and I do notice one part when talking about aesthetics. This is something I'm curious and I want to ask you a little bit about.
Yes.
When it comes to the, say the human physique. What, in your opinion, is the most beautiful physique? Or
that's a very interesting question. Yeah, I do go into quite some talk about this at the start of my book, because it's a question A lot of people are concerned with, and B, which I think if you want to sell a book which is health fitness related, you have to somewhere talk about appearance. People want to know, well, if they follow your recommendations, what are they going to end up looking like, right? I think that the Greeks were the first ones who really paid a lot of attention to defining the ideal human physique, and they produced those marvelous statues, which I think are still today the inspiration for a lot of health, fitness, gym culture. But what I think a lot of people don't appreciate is that those statues were of athletes, people who weren't training particularly for a specific appearance. They were wrestlers, runners, boxers. They participated in events like the long jump, the discus, the original Olympics, right? The old pentathlon. They were exceptionally well-rounded athletes, and that produced, in my opinion, an ideal physique. And that's still what I believe is the ideal physique today. I think the ideal physique ironically doesn't come from training for a specific physique. It comes from training to be a well-rounded athlete.
if you kind of go to the gym or you want to bulk up,
Yes.
that may not necessarily result in the most healthy physique.
As well.
Although it looks nice.
Right. As well, we get into sort of debate about nowadays the sort of exaggerated physique we see represented, especially in today's action movies and superhero movies, versus the sort of more natural physique which was probably common in the post-war period around the 1950s, which is also a period of time I look at as being very interesting for representing in film what I consider to be the ideal human physique. So we're talking about the era, for example, of early period Sean Connery. We're talking about the era of Marilyn Monroe. Okay, we're talking like Brigitte Bardot. We're talking about the old greats. In that unique period of time, I feel the physique that was expressed on film then was more natural and, in my opinion, more attractive than what we see today.
I couldn't agree more, especially when it comes to the clothing
Right.
of that era.
Absolutely.
And that time of nice drapey flowing suits that have a beautiful proportion.
Yes.
I'm going to knock on him right now. Like, for example, Daniel Craig as James Bond is
Right.
the worst dressed James Bond ever. I mean, he's in a suit that looks like it would fit somebody 2 sizes smaller. We get it. You had your shirt off in the movie. You were walking on the beach. You've got a great physique.
He does, yes.
The suit, when you put it on, isn't really meant to show off like a big chest, a slim waist, a strong biceps, you know?
Right, right.
And again, when you go back to that golden era, Sean Connery, you go back a little further, Cary Grant, Fred Astaire, these gentlemen wore suits that was just beautiful, like the aesthetic. I mean, you know, Fred Astaire, if you look at photos of this gentleman, he was a short gentleman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never realized that.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's because of the proportions.
Right.
Of the jacket, the waistline, the trouser rise being higher, and just it flows perfectly from the jacket,
Now
the high waistline to the trousers.
That is very interesting.
He was a very short gentleman.
Obviously, this is your area of expertise.
Yeah. Anyways,
no,
off
absolutely.
point, but I think there's that connection which I really find interesting, and I'm pursuing myself because I don't want to sound shallow, but let's be honest. I mean, people are judgmental.
Absolutely.
Even if you look at small children, they appreciate somebody that is beautiful or looks nice.
You're absolutely
they will, right? You know, I'm not just in this business trying to be pretentious or better dressed than somebody. It's because I actually enjoy it and I like it and I find beauty in it for myself. So I want to ask you a question that's a little bit off topic, but a lot of people out there might be interested. Can you tell us about your first ever suit?
I went to university at Oxford, and we had to have a bunch of suits made for that. But I don't think that really counts because they just sent us information on what we needed, because there's this very, very rigid dress code at Oxford University, and you have to be wearing it for, well, especially for things like your matriculation and your graduation ceremony, but not just that. For every formal dinner event, you have to be wearing this this dress code. It's called sub-fusc. And this is crazy because even during your exams, you have to wear sub-fusc. And you even have to match a particular color of flower when you go into your exam. So let me see if I can remember this right. Well, there were 3 colors, red, white, and pink. And according to whether you're doing your first exam, one of the exams in the middle, or the final exam, you had to change the color of the flower on your sub-fusc suit so that you could let passers-by knowing which stage of your final exams you were going through. But the first suit that I bought, which was not, required to meet the some academic institutions' requirements, was when it was my first internship in the City of London. I applied for an internship at HSBC, and I managed to get through the interview process. I think I ended up, I was partially constrained by budget. Obviously, being a student at the time, I just chose something which was fairly simple, recommended to me in a shop, which was I think it was blue, and I bought a bunch of shirts from the same shop.
Well, Victor, it's been really nice having this conversation. Thank you for coming, introducing the book. I think the one thing we have in common, which is really interesting, is the whole, the aesthetics and being healthy, having a good physique. I'm really excited to give this workout a try.
Me too. I'm very excited about bringing you into the world of club swinging.
All right. Well, listen.